Thank you for joining me today.
It is no problem. Thank you for having me.
So, how long have you worked for the De Winter family?
For as long as I can remember.
And what is your relationship like with them?
I have no problem working with them. Mr. De Winter is a respectable man, and Mrs. De Winter was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and amazing in every way.
Are you talking about Rebecca or the current Mrs. De Winter?
Rebecca is the current madam. It's just a replacement. Rebecca is the real Mrs. De Winter.
Why do you feel like she is just a replacement for Rebecca?
Because the current madam is young and foolish and does not know how to be a lady. Marrying her was a mistake by Mr. De Winter, who is just trying to find a way to make the pain of losing Rebecca easier. The madam does not deserve to be called a Lady of Mandalay or Mrs. De Winter.
Well, I think she has not done that bad of a job given the circumstances she is in.
Given the circumstances, she is nothing but a mistake. Mr. De Winter rushed into this because he was so grief-stricken over his loss of Rebecca. It was too soon after Rebecca's death to even be looking for someone else, let alone marrying him. He will never find someone even half as beautiful and talented as Rebecca. This man is a poor piece of a woman, and once Mr. De Winter comes to his senses, he will leave her right away.
Well, what makes Rebecca so much better than the current Mrs. De Winter?
Rebecca was the most beautiful woman in the world. She had gorgeous hair, and I remember when Mr. De Winter would brush it for hours while they talked. They were the happiest couple, and she made him so much happier than the current madam does. Everyone said they were the most amazing couple. Everyone dreamed of having a marriage like theirs and living a life like theirs. It is so sad that Rebecca passed away.
Yes, it was a tragic accident. How did the whole thing happen?
Well, Rebecca was out on her boat, sailing alone. She does a lot because she likes to be alone sometimes, but she can sing. The weather was bad, and she hit the rocks, got a hold of her boat, and drowned. It was all my fault, too.
Well, you cannot blame yourself for that. The whole thing was just a tragic accident.
So, it was my fault, and I should have never took it. While I was in town, Rebecca was drowning. I knew it was going to be bad weather conditions, and I could have been there to tell her. If I had called her, she would have said, "You're right, Danny. I can go sailing another day."
Well, I do not think you should be blaming yourself for this. It was just plain old bad luck. Thank you very much for joining us today, Mrs. Danvers.
It was my pleasure, sir.
We are here again with Mrs. Danvers. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Mrs. Danvers, how do you feel now that you found out that Rebecca's death was not an accident, but a suicide?
I cannot believe that she would commit suicide. She was a perfect woman and had a perfect life. I cannot think of any reason that would make her want to kill herself.
Yes, it is quite surprising. They are also saying she could be murdered and that it might have been Maxim De Winter, her own husband, who did it. Do you think there's any truth to that?
I have a hard time believing that. They had the perfect marriage. I cannot think of any reason why he would want to kill her.
So do I. But it is said that Rebecca may have been having affairs with many different men, including her cousin, Jack Favre. Is there any truth to this?
Yes, Rebecca was too good for one man and loved no man either. Jack thought she loved him, but she made fun of him behind his back, and he was just another man to her.
Well, do you think that Maxim could have done it now?
Maybe, but I highly doubt it. Rebecca was so smart and cunning, I do not think anyone would be able to kill her.
Well, nobody is foolproof, Mrs. Danvers. What do you think of the fact that she was deathly ill and going to die in a few weeks?
I doubted that was true. She never hid anything from me. She told me everything.
Well, it looks like she did not tell you this. How do you feel to know that she hid this from you?
It is very surprising to me. She had no secrets from one another. She must have not wanted anyone to know.
Apparently not. Now that you know, do you think that Rebecca may have not been able to take the pain of a slow death?
I doubt it. Rebecca could take any pain in the world. She could take the pain.
Do you think maybe she wanted to control her own death?
Maybe, but I do not think so.
Well, thank you for your time, Mrs. Danvers.
You're welcome.
You've heard many things about Mandalay, and I'm sure you want to travel there now. And there is only one way to travel, and that's with U.S. Air Vacations. You can go north to south, east to west, and the South Net.
Here with Maxim De Winter, and I want to ask him some questions about his wife passing away. Mr. De Winter, what did you first think when you heard your wife had passed away?
I was astonished. The first thing I thought was, who done it and how?
Sure, who was the first person who came to your mind when you heard about her death?
I think she could have died by accident on her boat because of poor weather conditions that night.
Why was there a hole through her body that is suspected gun wounds?
I have no idea. Are you trying to suspect me of Rebecca's death, sir?
No, sir, not at all. It's kind of suspicious, though, that you didn't know where she was when she passed away.
Rebecca always lied to me and did whatever she felt like doing.
But I thought that it was said that you and your beautiful wife had the perfect marriage.
No, she often cheated on me. Even though Rebecca and I had an agreement, she didn't abide by them.
How did you take action on this conflict?
I would talk to her, but she didn't listen.
How could you stand being treated like that in a marriage? You had to do something.
Sir, this is not of any of your business.
Sir, I'm sorry, but can I ask you a few more questions?
There's nothing else to say. My wife died, and further investigation is happening.
There is... Maxim, it is said that Rebecca could not have died by accident. It had to be a murder.
What are you trying to say, sir?
Sir, Mr. De Winter, did you kill your wife out of grief and anger about what your past wife had done to you?
Yes, it was me, and I already regret it.
I'm here with the narrator, and I'm going to ask her a few questions about her life. How did you feel when you found out that Rebecca died?
Well, I was kind of mad at Maxim that he didn't tell me earlier in the relationship.
Did it change your perspective about Maxim?
Well, a little bit, but I still love him and think he's a great man.
At any point in your relationship, did you think that Maxim loved Rebecca more than you?
Well, I've always thought about that. That is why I always try to act like her.
Does Maxim treat you with respect and show that he loves you?
He always calls me kid and treats me like I'm a little kid.
Does it hurt your feelings sometimes?
No, not really. It just makes me wonder sometimes why he married me.
Does the factor that he is much older than you affect your relationship?
I don't even think about that. It seems like Maxim is more like my dad than my husband.
How was the ball that took place just recently?
It was really, really, really fun. But I found out a lot of things that I found out.
What kind of things? What kind of things?
I can't tell you.
Thank you very much for the interview.
It's not